Now you can just pause it, okay?
Okay, sir.
So let's resume from where we had left that day. So you're now, I hope you all are comfortable with the creation of all these packages. Let me increase the font. So editor. This looks good. So today I plan to do relationship between entities. So how we can map the entities with one-to-many relationship. So as we had done in our database, let's try to do this, replicate the same over here. So let me create two more entities. This is a college application. So what I will be trying to do is I'll try to create two more entities called as department and student. So then we can relate the department with the student with one-to-many relationship, right? So what happened? So this is department entity. So what all attributes should we have for the department entity? The department number, department name, I guess. So department number, department name, these two entities attributes, I guess, are more than sufficient. Okay, so let's restrict ourselves to these two departments. Let me increase the font for you guys. Okay. This looks good. And we'll have one more entity called as student. And the student entity, we can have various attributes for the student entity, such as roll number, student name, and what age. Let's stick to. You can also have email. Also take the email attribute. Okay. Now, what is one and what is many? One student, many department, or one department, many students. So one student, one department, many students. So the primary key of the one becomes the foreign key of the many. So here we will have to add one more attribute called as D number, and it will become the foreign key over here. Correct?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
We make such an arrangement now in your Spring Boot. So first, let's make an entity class by the name department and make the D. So which is the primary key? How do we annotate the primary key attribute in an entity? By @
ID.
@ ID, the capital I, right? So which is the
Yes.
attribute in department? D number. And which is the ID attribute in student?
R number.
R number. Okay. And one department will have list of students, correct?
Yes, sir.
Every student will have one department.
Yes, sir.
So I have just given a single integer because this department over here is an integer value, right? So every student will have one department. So I have given it as a single integer value over here. And every department will have list of students. Yes or no?
Yes, sir. What department has many students?
So here what we'll have is we'll have a list of students. Okay. And whatever name you want to give to that list. Okay. So let's say I give it as students. So how many attributes are there in the department entity? How many attributes are there in the department entity?
Three
Three.
Four
ID.
attributes.
The
Nee,
department number,
three attributes, sir. Three attributes.
name and list
Three.
of yeah,
Correct.
the attributes over here.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
The attributes are there in the student class.
2, 4, 5 attributes, sir.
So roll number,
Name, age, email, and int DNO.
okay, we
D
have
number,
number,
foreign key.
age, 4, and then foreign. So we have 5 attributes over here.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now when I do one no, this is my owner entity. This is my which entity? Owner entity. So the one will be your owner entity. Okay. Okay. And this will be your reference entity. Which this will be which entity?
Reference entity.
Okay, so one is I see a lot of disturbance at one background. So this is the owner entity and this is the reference entity. So we have two entities. Okay, so whatever relationship we will do at the owner entity. So whatever one to many I will use in the owner entity. So here, and I will do the one to many for this. Okay. So whatever one to many I will use, we will use at the owner entity. So what is the annotation for that? At the rate one to many. At the rate one to many. So this one to many you will give where? At
In department.
At the owner entity side.
Owner entity.
At the owner entity. You will always give it at the owner entity side. Okay. And so now, which two? See, you join on the mutual column, right? You join on the common column. So which is the common column in both the tables?
D number.
D number. Okay. So
Yes, sir.
here you will say at the rate join column. What will you say?
Join column.
At the rate join
Column.
Okay. And at the rate join column, you have to pass two column names, one in the owner and one in the reference. One in the
Reference.
first the owner, first the
Owner.
owner entity, and then the reference entity. So what is the attribute name in the owner entity?
Department.
D number, right?
Not to
Oh,
give.
sorry. Attributes name, yes.
So you will say what name equals to. So here you will just give name. For the owner entity, you just have to give the name equals to the column name. And here you have to give referenced column name. What you have to give? Reference column name. So what is the reference column name?
D number.
D number. Oh, here also we have given D number, right? So
Right.
like this, you have to specify to the join column. This like this. And yeah, you are giving it to the which attribute? We are giving this to the list of students. So give it to the list of students. Is this understood? How to do one to many? So
Hmm.
first, let's create the simple entities. Then we'll do the mapping. So I come here. Okay. Why is this? The editor part is as well. Okay. So I go to the also my oops, now I guess the problem might be solved. Now it should be solved. Okay, looks good. A bit bigger. And now reduce this. Yeah, this looks good. So now I go to my entity and make which entity now?
Department.
Yeah, so first make the one entity. Department. And what all attributes do we have to add in department?
ID number and
D
department
number.
name.
And string
Department names.
name, right?
And sir,
And what
last
all attributes? What will be the primary key in D number?
At ID.
So give it at ID. Okay. And how are you giving the generated value? What strategy are we using?
ID.
We are using identity, right?
Yes, yes.
It will auto increment, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And import this also from persistence, Control Shift O. So import the ID from Java X persistence. And next is your string name. Okay. And see, now if you want to use getter setters, okay. So for that we have a dependency called Lombok. What dependency we have?
Lombok.
Lombok dependency. Amir, you joined through mobile or laptop?
Sir, I joined through my mobile.
Because I want to install Lombok dependency. So I already have installed it on my machine. So I want
Didn't come to Pune yet, sir, because of some personal issue.
Okay, no worries. So then we can just do it manually like we have been doing. So right click. Lombok eliminates the creation of your constructors and getter setters. So if you don't have Lombok, then directly we'll have to go by the conventional way and create the constructors. Okay, so I create a constructor with this. And once I have the parameterized constructor, I also create the Vags constructor. There is no parent class. Okay. So as of now, this much is okay for our department entity. Let's create one more entity for student. So let's create the student class. And now, okay, annotate with the entity attribute. We have not annotated department with
Owner,
@entity.
entity, or that's
Control Shift O, import the entity from persistence. Similarly, you make the student class. This is also an entity class. The reason we annotate this with entity is so that we can auto wire such classes. Whatever is annotated with entity, service, repository, controller, or @component, those classes can be auto wired directly from the IOC container.
yes, sir.
Attributes do we need for student? Roll number, string, name, and what all did we finalize? Age, email, and D number. So integer age, string, email. Okay, and now as we have to do one-to-many, so I take integer D number also. So you can just copy paste the ID generated value from here. Just copy paste it over here. Rest. No need to change the name of the column. So now you have given S name. And if you want to change the name of this attribute in the database, you can give add column and change it, but not recommended. Keep it as it is. And now let's go and do the many to one-to-many. So how will we do that? Where will we go? First, go to the owner entity. Which is the owner entity over here?
Department,
And one one student will be mapped to one department, but one department will have list of students, correct?
of student, yes, sir. Many students.
For attribute, we will say list of student, and okay, whatever name you want to give to it, students. Import this from util. And now, what is the relationship we are giving? One-to-many, okay? And now, what are the column names?
ID,
First column
join,
over here in the owner entity. Just we have to give the name. Which is the column name in the owner entity?
D number,
D number. Only the attribute name is just name, okay? And in the referenced, so I just give ref and control space bar. Okay, you get it?
yes, sir.
Column name. What is the reference column name over there?
D number,
There also I have D number. So like this, I can do one-to-many. Okay. And now we can have the getter setters for this. Okay. So what you can do is you can make them as private. You can make all this data as private. This also private. And now the reason I was saying Lombok is Lombok eliminates creation of this constructors, setter getters, toString. Directly there's an annotation over there. So now I'm making the setter getters for the private data. I'll select all of them and I'll click on generate. Will generate me the setter getters for all. Okay. Similarly, I come to the student part. Okay. So as I'll be generating setter getters, so I'll make all of them as private. Okay. and let's create the constructors and all that stuff. So right click, source. First, let's create the setter getter, select all and generate. And I would get the constructor directly after the data. Right click, source, generate constructor using fields and generate, remove the super and also make a Marks constructor. Make sense? So far, so good.
Yes, sir.
Now we'll have to have endpoints which will help us to add the student. So first, let's make an endpoint which will add the
Student
departments. Okay.
department. Okay.
We need an endpoint which will add department. Then once the department is added, then we will go and add the students, right?
Yes, sir.
So let's create. So how would you now you want to add department? So the ID is auto incrementing. We just have to pass the name, right?
Yes.
So let's go to the college controller. Okay. And or you can see either you can use the same controller or you can make a separate controller, like how we will be making a separate service, everything separate. You can make a separate controller also if you want. So right click, new,
Package.
separate class called as
Done. Yes.
department controller. We have department controller over here. Annotate with @ test controller.
Yes.
Okay. And now come inside. And what is the we are creating?
Post map.
Post mapping.
Add
You can
add department.
Amir. Whenever I ask the question, that time you can unmute it. So add department, and that will be public. Okay, you want to return the department object while, so you can say return type department.
Yes.
You can use the same method. Add department, and all we will pass is just the name. We will also increment. So what we will just pass is the name. So we can use request param. Okay, or you can use your Amir, you can unmute your, and when I ask, you can unmute. So path variable d name, you can take it in a string d name. As it is a different package, Control Shift O, and okay, as you want to, it is expecting us to return a department type. So now we'll have to create everything, department service, like how we create department controller. Now we'll have to also create. So each entity class make all the separate. So department service. Also make a repository new, that is the interface, right? Department repository. And how do we make that repository? We say extends JPA repository, and that T is the entity for which we are making this. So the entity for which we are making this is department, and the primary key in department is of what type?
Teacher.
Control shift 4. So this enter and annotate it with @ repository. The class which we made service class, annotate it with @ service. So we can auto wire them. Okay. So now go to the department controller. So let's auto wire the service over here. Okay, so department service. Okay, so I will name it as DEPT service. Now, if I want that, so I want to call the method of the service, so I will require the object. Directly, I will say what? Auto wire. And now using this DEPT service, okay, first we have to pass the object, right? So we will create an object department DEPT equals to new department, and then DEPT dot set D name. We will pass the D name, and then using this department service method, we will make a method by the name add department and pass this DEPT object to that add department. Okay. And now instead of using sysout, today we'll learn how to log. So in the real world development, they don't sysout. Okay, we're going to return this department, right? So whatever comes from there, we will return. So this should give you a, so add department method created. Okay, so what is this doing? Is now this will require the repository. So we will require what? Department repository. I'll name it as DEPT repo. Okay. Auto wire it. And now with this DEPT repo, we can call the save function. Dot save and pass the object as an argument. And if I say return, it will return that object. And here I have got the end to end. So I made a department controller. In that I made an endpoint add department. Okay. And I will pass the D name to it. That is as a path variable. That D name, I will just make object because the ID will auto increment. All I have to set is the name of the department, and I will pass it to the department service to the add department function. That button function will save it in the department repository. Okay, looks good to me. So what is the endpoint we are using for this? We are just using the endpoint add department. Okay. Have we given any path reference path to it? Okay, so you can request, you can add this also if you want to. Where the base URL is the same for both. Okay. So let's try to now hit this. What happened? Department dot set D name is not department. The department has setter getter, right? Yes. Get set D number, get set D name. Yes, it's there. Then why is this saying your project team? Okay. By clean the project. Now what happened? Why is it again? Okay, this when we will run the project, this all will vanish. So college application, try to run it. And now let's try to hit this endpoint. So let me open my Swagger. Or let me open my API doc. Okay, application has started successfully. And now I go to my Swagger screen. Are you able to see my Swagger screen? So
Yes.
let me take any post request. Let me take a post request and I click on new. That is a post request. And now what is the endpoint we have? Localhost Wadia College. Add. Yes.
Depth and
What are we using? Add DPT, right?
yes, sir.
And after that, we are giving the department name. Okay. So let me take, we are, let's say for being for a college, right? So let's say this is a science department. So the name is going as a part of the URL, correct? Okay. And whatever is the endpoint, you give it as a description also. So that you can add it over there and click on save. Click on run. And when you do a send, it will execute. Now when I do a send, it should, okay, added that. So what department has it got? One, and department name science, and there are no students in it as of now. If you want to add one more department, you can add one more. Commerce, do a send, it will get department name 2 and commerce. And if you want to add one more, okay, so now I have created 3 departments. Okay, so similarly, I also want to add the students also. Okay, so I will do right click new, gonna follow the same style for all of them. So let's make a student controller. Student controller will have all the endpoints regarding to the students. So now @ rest controller. And if you want to stick to the base URL, you can take the base URL from here, that all are for the same and same institute. Okay. Now let's just copy the department controller. Okay, now let's create the structure for that. So I've created the department student controller. So I should also create the student service. And I should also create the student repository. Repository is the interface. And now annotate them. Annotate the repository will extends. So this part you can just copy it from here. Just copy it. What is the repository? Take any repository. Just copy it from here. Student repository. What is it doing? It is just extending the repository, and for which entity are we making this? We are making this for the student. Okay. Start and end. Control Shift O. Repository is done. Student service, annotate with @ service. This also is done. And the student controller annotate with @ okay. So now so the controller will interact with the service. So Let me take the student service and make an object of it. Put service. And I want that object auto wired.
Auto.
Okay, once I get that object auto wired, now the student service just needs to create a controller. So now I just have to create a add student. Okay. But now for this, I will be taking the request body. Okay, because I will be taking 3-4 attributes. So let's accept that by the request body, and you will get a student object. As it is a different package, import it. Okay, so no need to create the object and set anything. And now using this student service, I will call a method called as with the same method name everywhere and pass this student as a argument. Okay, and whatever it passes, we will return it. So this is in a different package, right? Import it, Control Shift O. Now create, this method is not there, create it. And what will this do now? What will the service, student service require? Object of student object, student service will require object of student report. Okay. And now what will we just say? Return the student report dot save and pass the student as an argument. What happened over here? Okay, we are returning a type student. Oh, so far, so here also we have to return the type student. Student controller. We are returning type of student. Okay, so now I have to do the student service. See, this is in yellow. So this is an unwanted. So you just do a Control Shift O. All the unwanted imports will be removed. Okay, so Control Shift O removes all the unwanted imports. So now if I want to add a student, I will have to hit this endpoint, add student endpoint. And I need to pass the object of that student as a request body. And that object will comprise of these attributes. I no need to pass the roll number because it is identity. I have to pass the name, age, email, and the department in which that student is working and studying. So let's go and create an endpoint for that also. I copy this. I do a plus. It's a post request. I paste it. Now, what is the endpoint? Add student. And save one. But now, before doing a send, I go to the body, take data as JSON.
Yes. Yes.
Now I need to prepare a object for student class.
Student. Yes.
So this is auto increment. I will not pass that.
Yes.
Okay. Colon. Alice. Next. Age, email. Okay. Okay. So if you are giving a integer variable, you can directly give it without the double quotes or with the double quotes, whatever you feel convenient. What happened? Okay, we were asking for the double quotes. and then email. Next, it is also asking for the D number. So let's say if Alice is studying in the science department. So what will I pass over here?
1.
1. Okay, so we can pass the integers even without the double quotes. Yeah. So whatever integer values are there, you can pass it without or with the double quotes. So I'm just preparing this as an object. Now if I do a send, it will add Alice to the science department. If I do a send, and it says Wardia College. Okay, we did not run the application, right? We did
Yes, sir. We have to rerun the application. Yes, yes.
run the application. We haven't rerun the application. We just it is not getting an endpoint. So when the endpoint is not found, it gives you error 4.4. Okay. So now let me go here. Stop my application. Okay, and now rerun it. Done. So I come back over here. And now if I try to do a send, it will return me that object has got roll number 1, name Alice, is studying in department number 1. Okay. So now if I want to add Ben also in the science department, what will I do?
Just change the attributes values.
Rest all good? Okay, can
Yes,
I
sir.
when I double quotes? Any problem? Can you give the integer as double quotes? Let's do a
No.
okay, it has taken. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now I have to put Charles in the commerce department. Now
D number would be 2.
Now I want to put Dom also in the commerce department. And I want to put LCID in the arts department.
अरे ना जी बे ए ऑफिस में
Okay, so now this looks good to me. So now I have these 5 records. Okay, now if I want to get the if I give the department number and I want to see the students working in that department, how do I do that? Is my use case understood to you all what I'm trying to explain? Yes, anyone? So now I have, now if you see the database, just refresh the database.
Yes,
So now
sir.
you will see 3 tables over here, right? Department entry. So if I go to department table, this is my department record, right? One science
Right,
student.
sir. Science, commerce, and arts.
If I go to students, and if I see this is my students record, right?
Yes, Alice, Ben, Charles.
And the department number. Now my
Hmm.
question is, I want to pass the department number and fetch the details of all students who are working or studying in that department. So if I pass 1, what
1.
should it get?
Science department.
So I should get these details as a JSON object, correct?
Yes, sir. Alice and Ben
It should give me these 2 record as a JSON object.
for commerce. Yes.
Yeah, so how do I do that? So in which controller should we go?
Department
department controller, okay,
Yes, sir.
or student controller. We want to get the students by the department ID, right? So let's go to student controller. Okay. So, okay, get student by roll number if I want to see. Okay, let's take it simple now. Get student by roll number. What is my get mapping, right? You are able to see my Eclipse screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I want to get student by roll number. So if I give the student's roll number, it should give me the student's detail. So tell me, how do we do that? And we can accept the student roll number as a path variable, let's say. So I'm taking other variable as roll number. So at the rate path variable, which path variable? Roll number, and I will take it as integer roll number.
Yes, integer.
Okay. So now I will return the student, import this get mapping, and I will just use the same function name. So I will say get student by student roll number. And what will I pass to it? Roll number. Now is this method there in the student service? Not there, create it. Now what will we return? Student report dot. Yes.
Get by ID.
Find by ID.
Find by ID, sorry.
Find by ID. Which ID?
Roll number.
And then
Yeah.
do a dot get. Then do a dot.
Get, yes.
Okay. So this will return you that student. So if you pass the student roll number to it, it will give you that student object. Okay. Similarly, I want to get the student by the department number also. Now,
D number just replace with
so
in department controller.
that roll number will give me one single student, right?
Yes, sir.
But if I pass the D number, then
It,
will that give me one single student?
no, sir.
That will give me what then?
List of student.
Correct. We have to check that out. So get student by D number. For the path variable, I will pass the D number, that will go in the D number. List, import the list from util.
Last one is change R number return D number.
I'm going.
Yes, correct.
I saw that message and I'm going to that. So now you will have to change the function name also. Get student by. So this function is it there in the service? Not there. Go and create it. And now, what will we do now? List of students, right? So what will we do? Find okay, so let's make a method in the student repository now. So what will that method be? Let's make a find by, right? Find by. And what? Find
D
by
cap,
what attribute?
D number means D capital, na?
D capital and small. So just copy the attribute. Just copy the attribute on which you want to find
Yes, sir.
and paste it in the and make the letter capital, right? Find by D number. So what will you pass to this? Integer D number, correct?
Yes, sir.
Return to us. list of students, right? Make it copy. The control shift. So semicolon. So we make a function by find by the number to give us the list of students. So call this function now. For the student service, what will we call? Find by. Okay, you got this D number and pass the D number as active.
Yes, sir.
Give you the list of students. Okay, so let's try to hit these two endpoints and check whether they are working. So first stop the application and run the project. Go to the first endpoint, get student by roll number. I started. So then you get API. Copy this. Okay, Lua plus get API it is. What your colleague and get student by roll number. And we have to pass the roll number to it. So let's. So whatever is the endpoint,
Pass.
give that as a title. When we will do a send, that time we will pass. Or we can just do a save and a run. Do a save and a run. And now if I say give me the student with roll number 1, okay, and I do a send, it will return me that for roll number 1, correct?
Yes, sir.
If I say give me the student with roll number 2, return me the student with roll
Roll
number
number 2. Yes, sir.
2. If I say student 3, it will return me a student with roll number 3. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Similarly, now I want to make one more endpoint. Also a get and get student by D number, right? And
Yes.
anything while running, we will give. Okay. Now, if I do give me all the students in department number 1. So
Science.
who are they?
2 person are there.
These are the 2.
Yes, sir. Alice and Ben. Yes.
Stop students. See, so list will be a square bracket will be a list. Okay. So
Yes,
try
sir.
to understand the JSON response. Try to interpret it because the front end you have to pass this. In the front end you have to pass this. So see how it looks. So square bracket means list and parenthesis means object. So it's a list of 2 objects it has returned. Both are in department number 1. Correct?
Yes. Yes, sir. Correct.
Got it. So now if I change the department to 2, will the response remain same?
Yes.
Is it? Will the response remain same if I pass to 2? There 2 is Charles and Dom are in 2.
Yes, sir.
And in 3, you have only a single object, which is LCD.
Yes, sir. Arts department.
So like this, you can try and knit and try to scale your application. Try to scale your application. Okay. So this is one thing I wanted to show, one to many. Then I also wanted to show today what if all this while we are just using the repository as a class, right? As a interface.
As an interface.
Yeah. So we can also create a repository as a class. Okay, so in your enterprise application, not always repository will extend the JPA repository. It can also be a class. So if I go to repository and let's say department repository, if I want to make one more, I'll make a class now. Okay. So department repository story, and let's say I give CL, okay, means class. So in your application, the repository might be a class or it might be an interface. So I have to annotate with repository. Okay, so for this, we have to study JDBC template. So if you want to fire your own custom queries, then we can
Yes.
also use JDBC template to execute the queries. Okay, so let's say I want to create an endpoint of getting the department details. Getting the that I pass the department and it gives me the details of that department. Okay, so I go to the department controller and I want to get department by ID. Do what? I want to do a get mapping on get department by ID, and let's pass the department ID as a request param, and integer D number. Okay. So now I want to get the department details. So if I pass 1, I want the department details of that one with all its students also, with all its students. So if I pass now 1, if in the argument I pass, if I hit this endpoint,
Yes. Yes, sir.
this endpoint, and I say 1, what output are you expecting?
So 2%
So what is the department number?
depart
1. What is the department name?
department name science, sir.
Yes,
And then who all are studying in that department, science?
2 strengths.
So you should
Alice
have,
and Alice and Ben. No?
yeah, you will have objects of those 2 students.
Yes, sir. Object of
What have we called them? As attribute students, right?
attributes of student. Yes.
So in the department table, what are the attributes? What are the
D.
attributes of department table? D number is there.
Yes. B name
D
and
number, D name, and list of students, right?
list of
Yes, sir.
student. Correct.
That called as students. So now when I hit this endpoint, I will get D number as 1, D name as this, and students as the list of students,
Yes, sir.
right?
Yes.
This is what I'm expecting to hit. So how do I get that now? So for this, I will create one department service method, okay? And that will return me object of one department, right? So return type is the single department. So department service dot, and I can just give the same method and pass this D number as an argument to that. So whatever comes from there, I will return. And this all details is one single object. This all detail is one single object. So it will be one single object. So my return type is one single object of department type. So now let's create this method. Now this, I will not use this department repository. I will use the department repository CL now. So I'll auto wire that also.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so
Department repository CL.
okay, so now I will give
You have
this.
to make object of yes reference.
Okay. And let's, as I've annotated with @ repository, I can auto wire it. Now, which method of the department repository CL should I use? This is what now you have to check. So I come here, and when that function comes, I will say department repository CL dot get department by ID, and I'll pass the D number over there. Now, is this function there in that? Not there. Now create it. Yeah. So now what do we do? Okay. So now to execute our, so in that JPA repository, see, when we were extending the JPA repository, all the SQL was taken care by the JPL repository methods.
Yes, sir. It will convert
I'm making
object
my
to
own
record.
logic. Yeah, now as I'm making my own logic, so now I have to fire my own SQL query.
Yes, sir.
You want to fire your own SQL query, then you have to use JDBC template. What do you have to use?
JDBC template. Okay.
Okay, so you make object of JDBC template and auto wire that. So no need to create any object, just so Spring Boot is all about auto wiring. So what have I done now? I made an object of
JDBC template.
In this JDBC template, I can execute the method. So what is the SQL query? What is the SQL query now?
Select department
So let's string query.
string query, and we
Yeah,
will pass.
I want to delete. I want to return all the attributes, right? So I will say select star from which table?
Department. Yes, sir.
Department.
Where D number
Equals to
1.
1, 2.
Okay.
So I'll put a question mark over there.
Yes, sir. Because we are
Can
using
you request? Because I don't know what is
request
passed.
pattern.
So this is all your prepared statement. Okay.
Yes,
Now,
yes, sir.
now if I use a select query, what will it use? Execute query or execute update?
Select query for execute query.
Execute query. And so what should be on the LHS of execute query? On the LHS of execute query, what should be there? Result set. Yes or no?
Result set. Yes.
So now if this is my data set, okay. Are you able to see my screen?
So
Yeah.
only
Okay, so this is my data set.
Yes, sir. Paint is.
If I pass department number as 1, department number as, so select star from
department where D name is equal to
where D number equals to 1. If this is my
1.
query, okay, assuming I am passing 1. So what will this return? This
It
will
should
return this much.
only in science side students detail.
This will return this much,
Department.
right?
Yes, sir.
So this will go in the result set. So now what I want to do is I want to make an object from this result set. So for that we have row mapper. What we have?
Row mapper.
Row mapper. So row mapper will take the data from the whatever the select query has returned has come in the result set. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
You take the data from the result set and generate an object. So I want to generate object of which class?
Department.
This data I can generate object of department class, right? So
Yes, sir.
now I will make department D1 equals to new department.
So
And
we
now,
can see only a paint screen.
yeah, I'm on the paint screen.
Okay.
So department D1, I will make an object. And to this D1, I will assign the values. So what is D1 dot set roll number? What will be the roll number for D1?
Sir, department we don't have roll numbers.
Whatever, D number.
D number. Yes, sir.
You will get it from where? from the rs dot d number, correct?
Yes, sir.
Rs dot get d number, correct?
Yes.
That will be what get int and for the first column, right? You remember?
Yes.
And d1 dot set d name will be what rs dot get
String.
string and
Second column.
second column. So like this, you have to create a row mapper which will return, which whatever the content is in the result set, we can create it into an object. Okay. So whenever you are working with your JDBC template and you are selecting, so whatever data will come in the result set. Yes or no? But what are we returning? An object of department. So who will
Yes.
do the mapping? So we have to do the mapping of data in the result set to the entity object, correct?
Yes.
That
Request
will be done by row mapper. That will be done by
row mapper.
row mapper. So you make a row mapper for your respective entity. So I'll make row mapper for which entity now?
Department.
So now I go and I'll make a new package called util package. Okay. So all these mappers and all that will be in your util package, utility package. Okay. Miscellaneous package you can call it. Okay. You can call it miscellaneous MISC or util. Let's stick to util. Okay. So I make a util package. In that util, not controller dot util, not controller dot util, is just college dot util. Okay. So now I made a util package. In that util package, I will go and make a new class. By what name? Department mapper. What name?
Department mapper.
Okay. And this department mapper class will implement the interface called as row mapper. Okay. Implements which interface? Row mapper. And which entity are we working on?
Department and integers.
So which entity are you working on? Department entity, right? So like this, you have to implement your row mapper. Import this row mapper. Okay. So use this row mapper. It is from your JDBC core. It is from your JDBC core. Okay. So as see, no, don't use this. Don't use this Java X tree row mapper. Don't use this. Use the row mapper from your Java Spring framework. Remove this. Okay. So when you go to row mapper, use this one. Okay. ORG Spring Framework JDBC core. Use this one. So now why is this throwing an error? Any guesses? Because we are trying to implement an interface and we have not overridden the method of that interface.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Called as map row. Has a method called as
Map row.
map row. Okay, so it has a method called as map row. Okay.
Yes.
This will take the RS as a input, which is written by the select query. So here I will make object of which I'll make object of department which I want to return, because this map row will return an object, right? So make that object D1. Use the no args constructor. And now how many arguments do I have to set to this? D1 dot set first the D number. So D number come from where? RS dot get int, right?
Get int first column. Yes.
And D1
Same for
set D name.
D name.
RS dot get
String second column.
second column. Okay. And then whatever you have, return that D1. Return that D1. So now what two attributes has been set? The roll number and the name has been set, correct?
Yes, sir.
And
D
that-
number, D name.
Yeah. So now let's go to your CL. So now whenever you execute a query with row mapper with this JDBC template, first prepare your query. Okay. Once your query is prepared, now you can execute that. So you now execute that using the JDBC template. Okay. So this will return a single object or multiple objects. Your query is returning a single object or multiple object.
Multiple object,
An object.
Single. Why? There will be multiple objects of department number in the department table. There will be multiple objects of this. So if I pass ID number 1, will ID number 1 have multiple objects or single object?
Single object, sir.
Single object. So for that we have a function called as query for object. Which function do we have? Query for
Object.
object.
So query for object. If you see, there is one more method over there on the screen, which is that. So if you are returning only single object, use query for object. Okay. Now your query for object, which is the first thing you have to pass as argument the query, which is the query. Second, which class you have made for doing the mapping. So pass an object of that. So which is that new department mapper. And third, for this question mark, what is the argument? This question mark, what is the argument?
D number.
The number. So pass that as an argument. Okay. So what will this return you? When you go to the department mapper, what does it return?
So can you fit the screen according to window, sir? Because screen is cutting after department, so we can't see what you write after DEP.
And I'll have to go back and do the second. Now are you able to see? Okay.
So map only we can see a department MAPP.
Now
Says line not a complete.
I can see.
so this will return you a department object, right? So you take a department object, okay, whatever name you want to give, DPT, and so whatever your mapper has returned has come into DPT, okay, and you can now return this DPT object. But now this will only show you the department number and department name. It will not show you the list of students as of now, okay? But let's just check it, okay? Let's just check if this is working or not, okay? What happened? What is this query for object? Is not applicable for argument, string, department. Query for object, right? We are making a query for object. We are passing a query and we made a new department mapper. Okay, let's try to run it. So at times this does students. When you run it, at times it gets sorted. Yeah, so it gets sorted. So now it will just return me, because what have I set in the mapper? I have just set the D number and the D name. So when I
Yes.
hit endpoint, when I hit this endpoint, that is get department by ID, I will only get the, and my students will be null. Students will be null. I have not set that as of now. So let's try to hit this. Let's try to hit this. Where is my spider? Let me go and change the resolution again so that it becomes a bit bigger. Is it visible now? Yeah. So we are doing a get. I copy it, I make a new get API, paste it. Let's go and change the endpoint to get department by department ID. Okay. And I do a save. And I do a run. And now department ID, if I say 1, it should return me 1 and science and null. See, 1 science and students have, what are the students? Students, it is showing as null, correct? You see this?
Null. Yes, sir. Because we return only two values, D number and day name.
So we
That's
have
fine.
now set the students. Now, which is the third attribute which we have to set now?
Student list of students.
List of students. So now, once I get my question, now see over here. So now this DPT which I have got, now try to visualize, okay? This DPT object which I have got over here in that CL class has, so DPT object has how many arguments? D number, D name,
D name,
and
student list.
which is a list of students, right?
Yes, sir. List of student.
This is an integer. This is a integer
Integer.
value.
Yes.
So from where it has got? It has got from here. So what is the value of that?
1.
This is a string value.
Yes, sir. Science string
So
value.
it has got from here, right? So that
Yes, sir.
value is science. Now my question is, what is the student? It is a
Object
list of
student.
So that we have to set.
Yes, sir.
So which is the endpoint which if I pass the department number returns me the students in that department? Do you have that any of such endpoint? We have, right?
Yes, sir. Yes. Get
one.
a student. Get a student by D number. Yes, we have endpoint.
And which is that service method which is doing that for me?
Get a
So and which is that repository method which is doing that for me?
find by D number. Yes.
Which is of which class?
Student repository.
So what I do is I want to call this method over there. So what I do, I come here. So I also want the student repository, okay? So of this student repository, which is that find by D number, right?
D number.
So if I pass the D number is where? D number is department dot get D number. It will give me what? What will this give me?
So it will give you the list of student. Okay.
It will give me a list of students. I will name it as student list. Correct?
Okay, sir. And written student list. Huh?
Yeah. That is the object name. So what will this give me? Student list. So now I have the row mapper has already set me the D number and D name. Now what is left to be set? Student list. So now to this DPT object, I say set student list, and it gives you the student list. And I will return now this complete object. Okay, now I'll just run you all through. So when I did a select star from this to the row to the department mapper, what did I set? I only set the D number and D name.
Yes, sir.
So
D
object
number
which
and D name.
returned.
This object will return only D number and D name.
So that came over here. So this D department
Yes.
object right now only has D number and
D name.
D
Yes,
name.
sir.
It doesn't have list of students studying in that department, right?
Yes, sir.
So for that, what I do is I take the student repository, also auto wire it over here.
Yes, sir.
Student repository, I fire a method called as find by,
D number.
and I pass the D number. So D number I will get from here.
Yes, sir.
Number is there over here, right? In this D number. You can
Yes,
use
sir.
this. You can use this also if you want to. You can use either
Yes.
of them. But
Mhm.
now I pass the D number, and what will this student repository give me? List of students.
List of student. Yes.
And now I to this of DPT the row mapper has already given it the D number and D name. The third thing which is remaining was list of students. Now I'm setting that for it.
Yes.
Now I return this entire object. Getting it? So now if I run this endpoint, now if I run this, it will return me the students also. So earlier, what was it returning me? Only the number and name, correct?
Yes, only number and name.
Was it returning me number and name? Students list was null.
Yes.
Now this will return me the list of students also. Now if I do a send, it will return me all the students who are studying in the science department. Got it?
Yes.
The
D
list-
number.
The
Yes.
list of students. So you have to be technically capable of interpreting all this information, what response you are getting. So this is one object. So one parenthesis. So let me copy it and expand it and show it to you all. What as expected from you all, how you should interpret this JSON data. So this is one single object. Why is it one single object? Because when I pass D number, I will get one single department, right?
Yes, sir.
So that department's number is 1, name is science, correct?
Yes.
Also has a list of students. So now the third attribute, so key value pairs, right? D number 1, D name science, and third attribute is students, which is a list of students. So your list logo and list of objects. So like this.
Yes. For square brackets and curly brackets.
Yes. So every department will have a number, name, and list of students. If I change the department number, the list of students will change.
Right.
So if I try to hit it with 2, the name, ID, and list of students will change. So now department number 2 is commerce, and students who are studying commerce are Charles and Don. So reason was that you all should know that even if you all can create a class with your repository. Okay, now if I say get me all departments. Okay, so now if I go to the department controller and if I say get me list of all departments. So how we have get department by ID. So now
Yes.
I want to see all the departments and everybody studying in that department. Get all departments, let's say. So they will
Yes.
be non-parameterized.
Not permanent. Yes, sir. Correct.
But I don't need to pass any parameter. And so this will be a non-parameterized function. So I say, and what will this give me now? All department with what? Single department, list of department.
List of department. Yes.
So you have to be very aware as to
Yes.
what you are doing. So now if I do get all department and is non-parameterized, this function is not, okay, import the list first and make this method in the department settings. Now is this function there? Not there. So what we can do is now using this department service CL, we can create a method. And you can use the same method. Get all departments. Is that method there in the repository? Not. Now what will you tell me? To get the list of all the departments. What will be the query? Just copy this same template. What will be the query?
Sir, only select staff from department.
That's all right.
Yes, sir.
Select staff
And
department. Now what will this return? A single department or list of department?
List of
list
department.
department, sir.
So we will have list of department. Okay, and I will call it as department list. Now will it give a single object now? No. So for that you just have query. What you have?
Query.
Okay. So what is the query? And there is no parameter to this query, correct?
No parameter, correct.
So it will now return me. So what will this return me now? List of departments. So at zero
List.
index,
Yeah.
I'll have 0 index. I will have one science. At 1 index, I will have
Commerce.
commerce, and at 2 index, I will have
Arts.
art, right?
Arts.
So now your student list will be for all 3 departments, right?
Yes, sir.
So now if I want, so now I have to put a for loop, correct? So integer I will be starting from 0 and going till the length of department list, correct?
3, yes.
Whatever is the length, we don't know, right?
Okay, deb dot, yes, sir.
Size, right? It is a
Yes.
so as it is a collection, not an array. And I plus plus,
Yes, sir.
correct?
I plus correct.
And each now, okay, and we'll return the department list because we done that. Now for each department, when I will get a list of student, correct?
Yes.
And then what will we do now? With this department list, get each department, right? So get of I, which is 0, right? For that, set the student list to this student list. So now I have to set the student list for 3 different departments, right? And how will we get that? How will we get this now?
Deb list.
Dot get of 0.
Index I, yes.
Get the department. So now my query is select star from department. Okay. So now
Yes.
I use this query. So it will map me with the department. So this will just map the D number and D name, right? For each object.
Yes, sir. D number and D name only.
Department. So I run a for loop, which will go till the size of the number of departments I have. So if I have 3 departments, will go till 3. And then from
Yes.
I will say find by number depth list dot get of not 0, get of I, right?
Yes, sir.
Get of I, and then of that I get the D number. So what is the D number for science? 1. And from get all the students of department number 1 and put in the list of students. And for this get of this department is get of I and set the students as this student list and return the department list. Okay, so this you have to practice.
Umar sir, can you please explain it again, sir? In line number 35.
I'll show you the output. First, let me show you the output of this.
Okay, sir. Fine.
Maybe you will understand. Okay, so which is this endpoint now? Get all department. Okay, so let me go.
Get all department.
Let me go and copy this. Make a new endpoint. And what is it? Get all department. Get, okay, so change this also to a save, to a run. And now when you do a send, you will get all the departments seen. So try to understand the response. This is very challenging. So see, so I say get all departments. So first thing first, it returns me a list of departments. So you see a list over here.
Yes, sir.
The
D
list-
number.
In the list, the first object is the first department. Okay, which is it?
Fine. D
One
number
is
one.
science and the students of science.
Two
Department.
students.
Second
Alice.
object is the second
Two
object
commerce and have a two
and
student.
students of commerce, and third object is this.
There
Okay,
is
this is list of department, and in that list of department we have D number, D name, and the list of students in that department, because we have done a one to many. What I did over here is, okay, so go to this method, control click, then go to this method, control click. So what is the query you fired, Amir?
Select staff from department.
Select staff from department. Okay, so this,
Yes.
I send this to the row mapper, and this will give me what? List of a department list, right? So department list would look something like this. So if I just take the department list, it would look something like this. The list of department first is D number, and the students were all null, right? This we have to give null. Because we are just setting in the row mapper, what are we setting? Just the number and name of the department, correct? So it has given you list of departments. Here,
Yes.
Amir,
Yes, sir. Sir, we can see Eclipse. Yes, now.
See.
Now, sir. Yes, sir.
Understand this. So when you did a select star from department and you send this to the department mapper, what the department mapper map only the, what did the department mapper map? Only the department number and department name, right?
Yes, sir. Right. Correct.
So this is how the department mapper has mapped it now. Only the department number and name, department number and name, department number and name. Students is null, null, null.
Yes, sir.
And it has returned you this. What is this? List of departments.
Yes. First, second, third. Yes.
Which has come from the row mapper is of this nature now. So this DPT list looks like this right now, correct? Amir?
Yes, sir.
So this DPT list which I have got from the row mapper is looking like this, correct? Where the student's detail is null. Only the number and name of the department is mapped, correct?
Yes.
Now what I have to do, I have to map the students of each department. So how many times do I have to do this? 3 times?
3 times. Yes.
If I had 4 departments, then Amit, let's say I had the 4th department also. Okay. Let's say if I had 4th department also, engineering. Now, how many times do I have to map it?
4 times, sir.
4 times. So that's why what I do is I run a for loop. How many times will this for loop run?
Depth list dot size.
If the size is 3 times, size is 4 times, right?
Yes, sir. Correct, sir.
Okay. Now, what is the value of I?
Now is 0.
0.
So when I say dep list of get of I means what?
Index number 1 page, it shows like a science, D number 1 and shows
Talking of this
science.
object. So when I say get of I, talking of this object, right?
Yes, sir. Correct.
Your object 0. This is your object 1. This is your object 2. And this is your object 3. So when I say get of I and the value of I is 0, so which object will it give me?
So science day number 1.
Of this object, what do I want? D number?
Yes, sir. Day number and day name.
Only no, as of now, I want to call this repo, no, find by D number. So what do I do? DPT list of get of I means the first object, right? Of the first object, what attribute I want?
Day number.
What is the D number of first object?
1.
You have to first picture this in your mind. You're struggling over here.
Shows
You have to picture this in your mind. So when I
object of
say-
this,
Yes.
yeah, D numbers, D name,
See, if
string
I
list.
say the value of I is 0, right? In the for loop. So this is the value of I. So what is the value of I right now?
Same as
0.
science.
0.
Yes,
So when I say department list of get of I means
1 is science.
this object,
Yes, sir.
Yes.
this object, what do I want?
This subject have a 2.
I want D number of this object, right?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
What will this line tell? What does this line give you?
It will give you day number 1.
Of the first department, right?
Yes,
Yes.
first department.
And then you are passing that department to the find by department method, which will give you list of students of that department.
Yes, yes, sir.
So what will this give you? This will give you,
The list.
it will give you,
List, sir. Student list.
right? Alice and
Yes.
Ben.
Yes.
So you will take that Alice and Ben and set it where? To the students attribute, right? So you will take that list of students and set it to the set students of the first object.
Yes, sir. Got it, sir.
And then when this for loop completes, all the 3 objects will be populated and you return that department list. So this is how your list of get all the department is working. This is how your row mapper works. And this is how your repository can work as a class also. Okay. And now, whenever we are trying to hit any endpoint, we can log that, because in the corporates, no, they always read the log. So if there's anything wrong happening in the, so when this project is deployed to the server, so when whatever happens, whatever activities happen, those activities will be recorded. Okay, so logs will be generated of those activities. So for that, we have a dependency called as log4j. Called as what? Log4j. So what you need to do is go to the form XML and add the dependency for log4j. Okay, so we go to the form XML. And I want, okay, first let's search for the dependency. First, let's go and search for the dependency for form XML. Okay, so what is the dependency you have to search for? Log4j Maven dependency. Log4 Maven dependency. Okay?
Dependency.
So I'll go to this Maven repository. Okay, it's Apache. Apache is the manufacturer. So go to the top and now take this dependency. Copy it and paste it where? In the dependency. So at the bottom where the dependency is finished. Okay, dependency finished over here. paste it until 3. And as you save, see, now if you go to your Maven dependencies, is there any dependency for log4j? There is no dependency for log4j. Okay,
Yes,
now
sir.
as I save this, you will see something happening over here.
Yes,
It's
sir.
including the dependency. I save this, see, writing building
Yes, sir. 94%.
and now it will go and download the dependencies for log4j. Here, got it?
Yes, sir.
So once that is downloaded, then instead of displaying whatever you are doing, just put it to the logs, put it to the log. So this
No.
log, it has a properties file. Google that also. Okay. Log4j properties file it is called. Okay, you see this? It has a pretty simple template. Just copy the template. Okay, see over here, default log4j. So it is just root logger is there. This properties file, the comment is known as a hash. Okay. So now go to the Java tip, and this is better. Use the Java t.1. Okay, this will give you the log properties. Okay, let's use this one. So copy this. Okay, and you have to make a as it is a properties file. Go to resources where we have our application properties. Where we have our application properties, resources, right click, new, and make a file by the name log4j properties. How will you name it? Log4j dot properties. Okay, and in this paste whatever you have copied. So now it has 3 main objects. Okay, it has a logger object. Okay, it has a layout object and appender object. And we have different categories of logs which we can generate. So let's take a simple go to the department controller. So now whenever you want to add a new department, you want to generate a log that department added. Okay, so whenever you want to do that, you can always generate your. So first go and make object of that logger. Okay, so once you have got the logger in your service, so it's a private variable, static also and final also. You cannot make any changes. And for the entire class, only one object will be there. Name it as okay. The class name is logger. Make the object name also logger. Okay. And logger dot get logger. Okay. And for which class are we doing this? We are doing it for the department controller dot class. Okay. So now once your logger is in place, now instead of just saying department added, just try to log all your information. Okay. So now you can just say logger dot info. Okay. It has many methods: info, error, want, debug, and whatever you want to. Like say if you want to say department added by name. And what is the name of the department? Name of the department is DName, right? So it will just log a method log a statement in the logs that department added by engineering. Okay. Okay, after return, you cannot write anything, right? The function ends over there. So you can first put the logger and then do the return. So now when I will add this, the log will be generated. And where is the log being generated? That you can set over here, okay? So you can make a file also, or you can generate that log to the console. There are various ways in which, if you want to show on the console by default it is shown only. So it will now go and make a file. So if you are using this way of logging, okay, so the file, okay, so this will make a file, and if you want to, okay, this is the file, okay. So if you want to make that file in your root directory, okay, so you can say apps/logs/ whatever college is your application, right? college.logs. So it will make a, so in the D drive, so this is a root drive. So in the D drive, it will make this path. It will make this path. D drives, apps and logs, and it will make a file by this name, and all the logs will be generated in this file. All the logs, okay, whatever name you want to give. If you are giving my college, so it will make a file by the name my. Let's try to do that. So I save it, okay, and I run the application. See, these are the logs. What is being printed over here, no? These are called as logs. So as developers, you should know how to read these logs. Okay, so these are the info logs. Okay, so you have info, you have warning. Okay, there are 4 to 5 types of these logs. Okay, then you have a error message, warning message. So what have we used over here in our department controller? We have used info. So we'll get info. So let's try to hit this endpoint now. Add department. So where is the add department? Where is the add department? So post add department. Okay. So now let's add a new department called engineering. And now when I do a send, it adds a department 4 by engineering, and a log would have been generated. Okay. So let's go to that path. Where is that path which we just, so go in your log properties, go to your D drive. There will be a folder by the name apps. Let me search for it. I go to D drive. You all see my screen? Yes.
Yes, sir.
I go to apps.
D drive, apps, logs,
And in logs go to
my college.
and in my college. Okay, let's open this with Notepad++, and the log have been generated. You see, what did it say? department added by name.
Engineering.
So if you want to add other features, like by what time the log got generated, and okay, so for that you can use the layout also. Okay, it's like you see over here, there's a particular pattern in which the log is generated, correct? The date, the time, the type of log, the code, the thread which is generating the log. Which is the thread which is generating the log over here?
Main.
Main thread. Okay. So all this, if you want to do that, then you have to use that is called as conversion pattern. Okay. So Google that. See if it is over here. See, you see over here conversion pattern. So here what it is just giving you M and N. Just the message. If you want to add some other attributes also to it. So here you can see over here. Here YMM.
Yes, yes, sir.
So let me take this as a conversion pattern. Let's say if I take this conversion pattern, see what happens. If I take this conversion pattern, I replace it with this. Okay, do a save. Now do a rerun. So do not sys out your work. Always log your work. So when the real-time applications know, whenever the application crashes, you have to read the log. So you will come to know, okay, this log was generated when we are trying to add a new department. So the new department is the method which is causing problems. Okay. So did I rerun the application? I just did, right? 55, 50. Okay. So now let me go and hit the add department. So I go over here. I go to add department called as MBA, and I do a send. You see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Department 5 added MBA, and a log would have been generated. So go to your log file and try to. You all see my screen?
My college. Yes, sir. My college file.
You see?
Yes.
Now you
Date.
know that. Okay, at this date, at this time, in this class, at this line, this method, this is the log which I generated.
Department added by name. MBA. Yes, sir.
Because I am passing the parameter no over here.
Yes, sir. Yes.
And logging, I am passing that parameter over here. So like this, we have different methods. You have info, you have warning, you have fatal. There are many. Okay, so you can use either of the methods. Okay, I'll just give you the list of the methods. So logger.info, logger.warn. You see, then logger.error, any error, then logger.debug. If you're trying to debug, you can just put these logs instead of display. It's a very useful thing, logging part. Okay, and the library which we are using for logging is SLF4J. Which are we using? Which library are we using? So if in the ask in the interview, have you done logging in your application? You will say yes. And the library I used was?
Log4j. Yes.
Okay. So today we have discussed, Amir, you write this down and post on the group. Because I don't know, Ataullah does this normally, but he is not there. So
Okay,
today
sir.
we have done one to many, right? So
Yeah.
today's agenda is we did one to many. We did creating repository using class, correct? Then we did a row mapper. Okay. And then we did login, correct?
Login. Yes, sir.
I'll just forward this to you. You can forward it to the, you can pass it on the group chat.
Yes, sir. Sure, sir.
We'll have a session with Tanvaz Bhai, right? And tomorrow's availability is a bit tentative. I'll confirm on the group whether tomorrow I'll be taking a session. Okay. Looks very tentative. If still I'll confirm by tonight. Okay. Take care, guys.
Okay, sir.